guys, I hope you're all well. Welcome back to my channel. Today's video I'm going to be chatting to you all about my weaning essentials. I've had 2 babies now, so this is the second time I've gone through the weaning process, and believe me, it's quite scary, it's not easy, and you very quickly forget everything that you need to start weaning. So I've got some of my top essentials I thought I would share with you guys. Whether you're pregnant for the first time, or you've just had a baby and you're starting to wean now, or maybe this is like a second or third baby and you just need a little refresher on everything that you maybe need, I thought I would just share with you some of the stuff I've used that have really made a difference, and I hope you find it really helpful. So first up, if you are going to start weaning, I would definitely recommend to try making your own purees. It's really not as difficult as it seems. You can make some really simple recipes, or you can go quite complex. This will save you money, and it will also save you time in the long run if you batch cook. It just makes you so much more prepared. I've got myself a BIBS baby cook, which is a baby food processor, but not only does this mash your food, but it steams it as well, so there's not 2 separate pots to clean. It all gets done in one unit. I've got a whole separate video on how to use the BIBS baby cook, which I will link in the description box, but any kind of baby food processor that steams your food and blends it is always a winner. I didn't have one of these with Ella, and honestly I wish I'd just spent the money and got one, because we use this all the time, whether it's to make something for Charlie on his own, or sometimes what we do is just use the blending unit and we'll put like a portion of our dinner into it and then just blend it for Charlie and keep it for later. It is an absolute godsend, and I definitely think it is worth the money. You can get one of these for less than £100. I think the BIBS baby cook retails about £129, but when you add up how much you would spend buying purees, it really is worth the money. So definitely, if you are thinking about it, it's only 19p for like a whole bag of carrots, and it's £1 for one of the baby pouches. So think about it that way, you will actually save money in the long run. And not only that, if you're off on maternity leave, do you really want to spend money on things like baby food when you can avoid it? It's a winner for me. The next thing on the subject of making food is a manual masher. I've got this one from Annabelle Carmel, and it's just a little bowl that has grooves inside it, and it's also got a masher so you can mash things like banana, avocado, things that are ready to go that don't actually involve any cooking. I find this really handy for taking out with me, and not only that, it saves you time washing dishes again, because you can use the little bowl that you've mashed the food up in to actually feed your baby as well. So that one is a really good one. I'd also say a sippy cup is an essential. This is a really good time to get your baby trained to hold their own cup. I've got this really simple one here from Tommy Tippy, but you can get lots of different sippy cups out there. Definitely pick one from a range, pick a nice colour that you like. I would definitely say stock up, because they are the kind of things that tend to go missing. And on that subject, as your baby starts to wean, it's a really good time to start introducing them to water if you haven't already done so. I've recently discovered a brand called AQUA CARPATICA, which is the purest natural mineral water available on the UK market. What's so special about their water is it's completely nitrate free. And if you're not sure what nitrates are, they're basically like fertilisers that are found in agriculture, but you can also find traces of them in bottled water. You can't see them or like taste them, but if they're consumed in large quantities, they're actually really dangerous to your health, which I never really knew a lot about, but now that I've read up on it, it's actually quite important that you take note of it. There's actually legislation that's been passed in some countries to say that you're not allowed any more than 50 milligrams per litre of nitrates in mineral water, and even 10 milligrams of nitrates in a litre of mineral water is really dangerous for pregnant women and babies. So I've recently just been making the switch onto AQUA CARPATICA in our family home, just because I, like you, probably didn't realise the dangers involved with it. What I love most about it is the taste. I never knew that water could taste so smooth and so pure. We live in Scotland, and we're fortunate enough that our water actually tastes quite nice in comparison to when I've been down south in England, and in some parts of England they actually advise you not to drink the water from the tap and you've got to use filters. But AQUA CARPATICA is like next level. It's so smooth and so clean tasting, and you would need to taste it to realise for yourself that it's actually so nice. It is renowned for its silky taste. That's on all the branding, it's got a really silky taste. You don't realise how much your water from your tap tastes like chemicals until you try something like this. It just tastes so smooth and so pure. As you can see as well, this is like one of the bottles. They're really stylish and sleek, and they come in like a range of sizes. I've got another one here. This is like the largest size that they do, and there's also sparkling water as well. I'm not a massive fan of sparkling water, to be honest with you, but they do have that as an option if that's something that you like. In terms of like a weaning essential though, I just love the fact that I can just throw this in my changing bag and know that I don't need to sterilise it, because let's be fair, the taste of cool boiled water can't be really nice for your baby, can it? So you just give your baby the best start by going pure and nitrate free, and you can also give this water from newborn, which I think is really good, especially if your babies are like mine that really suffered with like colic and indigestion. Just to get things moving along a little bit, they do suggest you give them a little bit of water, but I was always really nervous about giving the kids water just because it was on its own and it wasn't with like a formula or breast milk, because I breastfed both my kids when they were very young. So having something like this is really good because it gives you peace of mind knowing there's no chemicals in it, especially when they're so tiny and newborn and you just need to be really careful with what you give them. For something that feels so high end, it actually comes at a surprisingly low cost. For a bottle like this, I would be expecting it to cost at least £1.50, maybe something like that. It costs 69p, so there's no excuses. But that's for the 500ml bottle, and then for the huge one like this, which is a litre and a half, it's 99p. So it's super affordable and it's an easily attainable switch into your family's diet just to make things a little bit healthier and make sure we are chemical free. My next essential is something I've chatted about before to you guys, and it's these little tiny spoons from Poundland. I think these are the perfect size weaning spoon because they're small enough to get into your baby's mouth, but they're also deep enough to actually hold some food. I don't know how many times I've bought spoons for my baby and then realised that the actual depth of the spoon is just completely flat, so no one wins. There's food everywhere and it takes forever to feed them. So these ones are really good because they are BPA free and they are a really safe plastic for your baby to use. There are 12 in a pack for £1 and they come in an assortment of colours, and it's also good because again things like this tend to go missing, you lose them, and the fact they're £1 for 12 means there's no love lost. If you're going to start making your purees, then definitely get some tubs. I've got these little small freezer tubs which are good for the early days, but if you're really wanting to do this long term by making your own baby food, then I would suggest getting some of the bigger ones. These Tommy Tippy ones are quite a good portion size. I tend to give Charlie like a meal and then give him something sweet afterwards, so generally I'll give him one of these portions for his meal, and then afterwards he'll get like a fruit pot or maybe a banana or some fruit. I definitely think that this is a better size than the smaller ones. Also, I've got this huge big one from BIBS and it is a silicone mould which makes several portions. This is all very well if you're in the house because it means you could just pop a portion out, but in terms of actually taking it on the go, it's not quite as good. For batch cooking it's great because you can store it in your freezer really easily. All the pods are stuck together in this round formation which makes sense and it fits into your freezer really easily. It's also easy to clean, you can pop it in your dishwasher as with the other tubs as well, and there can also be microwaved too. When you start weaning, you're going to need a lot of bibs. Seriously, like you need tons. What I've done as well to make sure that I've always got bibs to hand is put a hook on the back of the high chair. You might have seen this in my baby hacks video, but it makes such a difference. It also gives us a new storage place because bibs take up a lot of room. So I've got like a little hook on the back of Charlie's high chair and we just hook all of his little bibs in the back of there. We've got quite big ones as well, and we've also got some from Nick's that have got like a lining in between to make sure that the wet food doesn't actually soak through the bib, so it's like dribble proof. I've also got these huge big massive coverall bibs, and I get these ones from Poundland. I think these are really good because they are wipeable, and also if you're out and about it means you can fold them really small and keep them in your changing bag for those emergency situations. And on the subject of a high chair, I definitely think that I made a huge mistake first time round by getting something that was really fussy and easy to fold away. The truth of the matter is, your high chair is out for the day. There's no point in getting one to fold away because your baby spends a lot of time in it. So definitely get something that goes with your living room. I've got these two ones here from Stoke. As you can see, Charlie has got the baby seat in his. I also had an infant seat which could clip onto this right from newborn, which was really handy as well. But this adapts as well so that they can use it as a stool at the table to get them a bit of height as Ella uses it. Definitely get something that can be used from newborn right up until they're in primary school. It makes such a difference and it means that your money's been well spent as well. I just love the Stoke high chair because you can wipe it down. It's wooden. There's not any nooks and crannies that you have to get into, any buttons or anything for the food to get stuck in. It is really super simple to clean. It goes nice in my dining room, and also these pads can be removed and just thrown in the washing machine to wash up, and they dry really fast as well, which makes such a difference. When you start weaning as well, you'll also need some inspiration. No one expects you to know what kind of baby purees to make. Definitely check out like YouTube videos, get some books. I've got 2 Annabelle Carmel books which I think are so good. They also give you like next stage baby led weaning ideas, which is really handy because your baby won't always be on purees, so it gives you a kind of rough idea of things to make, and it also gives you loads of inspiration. It'll help you with meal planning as well, and also it means that you can start thinking about things that you can make in your own food that you can just make one portion of. For example, at night time we might have like sweet potato, but we can give Charlie some of that as well in one of his purees, so that we're kind of making one meal and giving me less work to do. I also like to try and encourage some independent feeding right from an early stage with the kids. I find these fresh food feeders definitely take a lot of stress away. When your baby starts to do baby-led weaning, it sometimes can be really stressful because most babies will start to choke on things. They're naturally sort of testing their gag reflex to make sure that they can bring things back up again. So definitely don't panic if your baby starts to choke a little bit. I'll leave a link to a video that will show you what you should do if you think your baby is choking, because it is so important to make sure that you are knowledgeable and you are clued up on what to do if your baby has a little bit of food stuck in their throat. But to stop that at the very beginning, in the early stages, I would definitely recommend getting a fresh food feeder. These are great because there's like a little mesh part on the feeder that lets through tiny little amounts of mashed up food. It's also really good for your baby if they're teething, because you can put like frozen fruit in there and let them bite on it to try and break those teeth in. But a food feeder isn't that expensive. This one's from Poundland. Again, it is also BPA free and really safe for babies to use. I would definitely just go get them from Poundland and stock up in quite a few of them. You can also get ones that are made of silicone as well that let out little bits of food, but I definitely prefer the mesh ones. From experience, that's just a personal choice for me. And also on the subject of independent feeding, definitely try doing some snacking with your baby. Charlie loves rice cakes, he also loves biscotti biscuits, he also likes just snacking on bits of fruit, but definitely have lots of snacks in the cupboard because it makes such a difference, especially if you are making a puree or you're doing something in the kitchen. Giving them something to snack on to feed their boredom is really good. It also helps them being a bit more independent, and I would definitely suggest putting on one of those big coverall bibs when they start doing that. So guys, that is the end of my baby weaning essentials video. I hope you really enjoyed it. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. And if you're new to my channel and you're not subscribed, I would love if you stuck around for more videos in the future and hit that subscribe button to stay around. If you have any weaning essentials or tips that we all need to know about, then leave them in the comments and we'll get chatting, and I'll see you next time.